Hey, brand babies, it's your ghetto country grandmother, and I am here with a new house guest, Miss Blanca, y'all, Miss Blanca Ruiz. And this chick, she has is it Chico Taco or Taco Chico? Oh my goodness, she has this amazing animation. But y'all know I don't do the introduction. I let folks introduce themselves because they want you to know how great they are, and I want you to know. So, Miss Blanca, tell us who you are, what you do, and let's get on into this conversation.
Okay, well, I am a graphic designer, an entrepreneur, and a mom. I've been working on graphic design and brand strategy for, I think, 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Part of those years, I devoted to accomplish one dream that I had since I was a kid, which was creating a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
I did so while I was pregnant. Because yes, I mean, I had to close my studio due to a high-risk pregnancy.
Okay.
So yeah, the doctor said, well, you have to choose now between work or baby. And the answer was obvious. So while I was there in bed, I decided to start drawing. I mean, why not? I have
Why
time.
not?
So I began drawing and then creating comic strips. And then I upload the comics into a web page.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, I'm not saying this was like, oh, she did this in 3 months or 9 months while she was pregnant. No, it was my son was born and I kept working on it 1 hour a day because back then I chose to be a full-time mom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But 1 hour a day, I was working on my dream. I just left graphic design for a while for clients, and I was devoted to my son and working on my cartoon. Next thing I know, which was a surprise for me, I had over 15,000 subscribers to my comic strips.
Wow.
And the next thing I know, the biggest telecom company contacted me to license my work for funds.
Wow.
So by then, I think my son was in kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
and I began developing products, hire animators to do some animations.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I didn't know a lot about animation, so I would just hire anyone who told me they could do it.
We're going to talk about how that worked out.
Yeah, well, some of them were nice. A lot of another animations were like not good, but I mean they were charming. So yeah, I learned a lot.
Charming but untalented.
Yeah, it was not like the best result. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
professional animators will definitely have a say on some of them, but that led me to over the years to win an award here. It is a very important competition for animated projects, and I won an award for
Nice.
that.
Was that with the Chico Chihuahua?
Yes, Chico
Okay.
Chihuahua is the name of my cartoon, and this award was the judges were from Sony Animation, Disney, Discovery Kids, International. I mean, it's an international competition, but it's held here in Mexico. And also, the Mexican government chose me to be part of their delegation to a huge trade show, the biggest one in the world for content in Cannes, France.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So as a result, I really had the opportunity to have very high level training in storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
in branding, in licensing, in product development, and I did it with my own cartoon. I learned a lot about business because before I was working for hire as a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
When you do it for yourself with your own money, with your own resources, oh man, that's a whole new level of understanding all sides of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was I mean, before COVID, I had a store and I was moving into a mall here, but then COVID hit and that really derailed me.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah. So right now I have some active licenses with my cartoon. One of them is with Visa and MasterCard
I
International.
know.
Yeah.
I saw the ones on your Facebook with the Chico Chihuahua on the Visa card. Sweet.
Yes, yes. And for now, I'm working on how to give it a second life to the
Mm-hmm.
cartoon because I had a big personal losses before COVID, like my mom and things like that.
Yeah.
So right, I decided to take a break from that project because it was like too much for me to handle.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the middle of renovating everything when everything happened. And I decided to go back to working with clients and put my experience with international experience for my clients, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because I know about Chico Chihuahua, but I don't know about your brand. Well, how do you where does your brand sit? Like, where does Blanca take up space versus Chico Chihuahua? Because Chico Chihuahua is easy to find, but how do people find you and your brand?
And LinkedIn. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm redesigning my website as a graphic designer
Okay.
with all my projects. My personal brand is VRS Studio, but you can
Okay.
find me on LinkedIn as Blanca Ruiz.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finishing my website.
Now, with all of this, how are you building out this new brand? What does it look like? And how are you separating it from the whole Chico Chihuahua thing?
Well, I'm focusing more on brand strategy and all the strategy behind creating a brand.
Mm-hmm.
I have a solid portfolio of working with clients.
Mm-hmm.
And in 22 to 2022, I worked for several clients, so I have more new projects that had nothing to do with my cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I can show my abilities to clients in as a graphic designer because that is my foundation. I've been working uh, for over 18 years, so I have a lot of work. I've worked for big corporations, medium-sized corporations, entrepreneurs. I mean, imagine that.
Yeah, yeah. So what excuse me.
Mm.
Let me ask you because a lot of people don't get this. But as a brand strategist, do you find it harder or easier to do your own brand strategy?
I find it harder because, because I have to choose a niche, and it's hard to decide because I like many things
Mm-hmm.
and I have experience in many areas. And I mean, I just love creating and working with clients, but yes, it's harder to
It's
create
harder.
it
And
yourself.
a
It's
lot
like,
of people, I don't think they get that because they hear a lot of context from experts or experienced people, and it's easier to tell someone how to brand strategically than it
mhm,
is to do it for yourself. I know I went through multiple iterations before I got to where mine is, and then it still has its own thing that it has to finish doing because I plan to my model eventually is similar to yours, not to license out a product, but to license out my process and create
mhm.
other brand mods. So it's getting that understanding of where you are and where you want to be, because a lot of people think that branding is about, okay, where I'm standing right now, but actually you're building out a brand or strategic brand is about where you want to be in the future. So what does your future brand look like with Blanca Ruiz?
Well, do you mean also like what kind of clients do I want to serve, or
Just how do you see the brand in general? How do you see it playing out like 2 or 3 years from now?
well, I see myself as I want to see everybody to see me as an expert in brand strategy, not just graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, someone that can help you do that, work with your brand strategically, and then, of course, designing the visual identity.
Mm-hmm.
But most important is the strategic thinking behind the creation of your visual identity. I think that's my strength. And
Mm-hmm.
due to my own experience, I know I can help with that. There are aspects of creating a brand or building the brand that I don't do, like marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my forte.
Mm-hmm.
But the process before the foundation, I think that's that's where I am good at, and that's where what I plan to focus on, and also
Okay.
expand my skills.
Okay. So so like I said, with your own brand, when you think about it from, and like I said, and I want you guys to, I'm saying this because I want you guys to understand that it's a lot easier for us to do this with other clients. But when we talk about doing it for ourselves, we sometimes have to hire a strategist of our own,
Yeah.
because there's more than the visual aspects to it. And so, Blanca, when you originally started out 18 years ago, or even during the last 18 years, when did you decide to get up close and personal with your particular brand that wasn't Chico Chihuahua? But how did you decide how you maneuvered with those different brand strategies with yourself before, and what's the difference now?
Well, before I had no problem because I've been working since I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
so it came out natural. But the
Okay.
problem is now that I have to differentiate myself from all the work that I did with my cartoon character. And how do I communicate what I am now? Because I am more than the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But that project gave me huge amount of experience that
Yeah.
I can share with my clients. And that's, I think that's my, how do you say, my struggle. How
Okay.
to incorporate that into with my clients, that they don't say, oh, she does cartoons and that's it. No, 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 no.
So is that the reason why you're not necessarily letting Chico go, but starting to separate yourself from that particular thing?
Yes, yes, I'm starting to separate. Yes, because of that. Mm, yeah, I'm confused sometimes about that. I have to be honest.
Like, but this is what I'm known for. Everybody knows me for this. So yes, I get it. I get it. One of
Yes,
my very first brand strategy clients, I gave her what she asked for, but I didn't give her what she wanted. But then also it was with the understanding that she had built a reputation for the last 30 years on who she was. And even though she wanted to move into a new space, she struggled. She still struggles because she never used what we did, but she could never let go of that past because everyone knew her for it. Even though it did not serve her well now, it's like you want to be known for this book that you just recently released and all of the things that this book means and what it stands for, and becoming that author and bestseller, but you will not let go of this thing. And every time you see something that she's posting, it's about the old thing. But the only thing that you can tell me about the new thing is go buy my book.
oh,
And
okay.
and so it's that level of separation of understanding that when you're building out a brand, it is not about your past, it is not even about your present. Branding is always about your future. It is
Yeah.
always about looking forward to something different. And so when you see people doing that, it's hard for them because all they know is like, I need to make money now.
Yes.
And that's what they get stuck in. That's what
Yeah.
they get stuck in. Have you noticed that with your clients?
Yes, everybody. I think we all have the same problem. When I approach a client and they said, "Oh, I want a logo," and then I start asking questions, and they don't know. Like, they are not 100% sure who their niche is, their niche or their customer persona. They have no idea,
Mm-hmm.
and they are also having problem letting things go
Yep.
in order to focus on one thing. I think that's a problem because we're all scared of letting things go. We
Mm-hmm.
want everything, but that is not serving us.
Yeah. Because I had a hard time letting go. Because like before I stepped into Grandma's house, my previous name in my company was CKO Creator. And when I
Mm,
created CKO Creator, it was when I was coaching kids on being entrepreneurs or being teenpreneurs. And so
mm,
CKO stood for Chief Kid Officer. But the more I moved into servicing adults, I still tried to hang on to CKO. And what I did is I tried to change it from Chief Kid Officer to character, kinship, and originality as far as it relates to branding. But I could not see beyond that name. And so I struggled for so long. That whole feast and famine thing was real for me. But once I finally let it go and say, this is not for them, and just finding a new way to be the ghetto country grandmother and to now step into grandma's house, I now see a more strategic path for me than if I had tried to hang on to CKO Creator. CKO Creator is still there, and I will give it back to the kids when I finish mapping out this whole thing as grandma's house. So it's not really gone, but it does not serve me in my future right
Okay.
now.
Yes.
So I get that whole thing about not being able to let go. But if you don't let go, it's like one of the things somebody told me a while ago. As long as your fist stays closed to something else, you can't open it to receive the new thing,
Oh,
because you're holding on so tight to that other thing, you can't open it to receive the new. And so once we realize that, you know what, if you want something new, you're going to have to open your hand to receive it. And when
yeah.
you open it, that old shit is going to have to go at some point.
Yeah.
But if you're afraid to let it go, then you know what? You'll never receive the new that you want.
Yes, you're stuck.
Yes. Yeah. And you, and it's like now you balling up your fist because you're like, oh, I'm so tired of this. And
Yeah.
it's and like for me, it's no longer about survival, because enough of us survive, and we survive enough to not go back and get a job. And then we survive so long that nobody really wants us back in a job. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're already used to being the boss and you can't be the boss here, so I can't hire you. So now you kind of not physically aged yourself out, but you've aged yourself out because you've been out of the game for so long. You don't want to play that corporate shit anymore. So
Mhm.
now what do? You continue to survive. And to get past the survival mode, you got to open your hand to receive something new. You got to understand what it means to step into the future. Brand for the future, not brand for the present. So it's and I, like I said, I see, I and I'm telling y'all got to go look up. She's trying to move away from being known for Chico Chihuahua, but he is so fucking cute.
In all of my questions in the future, I always bring him up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and I know I have to stop doing that for now.
So tell me, what do you think, or what are some of the things that you do know about the strategic brand that you're moving forward with? What does that look like? You have any?
My brand.
Yes.
Well, right now I am, as I said, I'm redoing all my portfolio or on my website.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I I'm exploring a niche. I have clients within that niche,
Mm-hmm.
and I like it. And I am building my case studies and to look the way I want it to look for the clients that I want to talk to target. That's what
Okay.
I'm doing right now. I had a professional photographer take pictures of the best
Do
pieces
all the
of
cute
my
stuff,
portfolio.
huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And make it look even nicer.
Uh-huh.
And yes, and then the second stage would be like reaching for those clients, reaching out. And
So what kind of marketing plan do you plan to use?
well, I was planning to use a lot of posting on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't posted anything. I've been working on like a schedule and various subjects, and to have like a solid idea of what I'm going to post, not posting any idea of the moment. Once I have a solid grasp of the subjects that I'm going to post, I will start posting. But right now I have like 20 posts that I'm working on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And once I have like clarity, I'll go all for it. And
So here's one of the things. Do you ever think about like what you went through, the process you went through with licensing your product? Do you ever think about that being a distinction for you as a brand strategist? Getting your clients, one of their scalable things is to get them to a product that they can license. Do you
yes,
ever think about that? Is that something that's coming into play for you?
well, actually, I know about those things, and I was thinking maybe I could go into that niche, but I didn't choose that niche for some reason. I don't know. Um, I am choosing like real estate,
Okay.
high um, vacation homes. We have a lot of developments here, luxury developments for
Okay.
international markets here in Mexico, hotel boutiques, luxury hotel boutiques, um, like spas or these
Yeah.
wellness centers that are
Yes.
national
Mhm.
destination, things like that. I like that, and I have some clients within that niche. I don't think many of them use licensing, which is ironic because I have experience in that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that
is so like I say, now thinking about it, don't you think that's something that because even when you think about hotel soaps or like some of the higher, very high end hotels will sell the mattress, the furniture, they have their own
yeah.
line. Do you think along those lines, like, okay, let's be more than a hotel, let's be a brand that licenses out this thing? Like if someone wanted to manufacture something that is uniquely theirs.
Well, that's a good idea. I haven't thought about it. you know, I haven't thought about it, but yes, that's a possibility because I also have a lot of experience in product development.
See?
Yeah, yeah. And I was thinking, how do I incorporate that experience into this? Because
Okay.
I know a lot about manufacturing techniques in the soft goods, like that could be useful to my clients. So yes, sometimes I really don't know if I picked the right niche.
Here, here's the thing, and this is why, for me, I try and get people away from the niche, but just step into whatever you're good at is your niche, so to
Okay.
speak. So it's more. I think a lot of people are used to going into niche vertically. So it's like I'm gonna go into this industry, and within that industry, I'm gonna look at these people, and from those people, I'm gonna focus on this thing. And so
Yes.
they go vertical. But when you go horizontal, it's like, okay, I'm a brand strategist that helps you license, productize, and do this thing. So it's going horizontal instead of vertical because now it can reach across other industries. And so
Yes.
when I'm listening to you talk, and because you have experience in being a license, putting out a licensed product, you
Yes.
have experience in creating actual products. So
Yes.
being that brand strategist, that okay, let's talk about this, let's have that conversation. And now it's not about me having to design or do these things for you, but more of, you know what, let's see how we can do this strategically for your company. What
Yes.
can we productize? What can we license out? What do you have that is uniquely yours that we can now put a license to that other people can get? If
Yes.
someone else opened a smaller chain of restaurants and you want to license out this thing, how do you now go out and do that for your own business?
Yes.
And so to me, that would be more in line with that. And then it doesn't necessarily stick to real estate or spas or whatever, but eventually it can spread across any industry.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Yes, I also struggle. I have experience in these areas,
Mm-hmm.
uh and I'm not using it.
No. And then that way you can still talk about Chico, but not from a perspective of, what associate with me, but from a perspective of, let's talk about how you license your own product. What do you
Yes.
want to get this thing on, or what is uniquely yours? And so now that's the way you bring Chico in. You don't have to totally cut him off, but you use him as a marketing tool for how you license out a thing. Because I understand the process and the fact that you're on fucking Visa. Come on now. How do you get your hotel? Like if somebody wanted to get a without having to go to Visa, but how do you get your logo, or how do you get this thing on a Visa card? Or
How
how
do
do
you
you get your
I
name on all of these different things, and
Yes.
understanding that pattern? So I think you bring that to the game.
Yes.
She's
Yes.
like, yeah, what we do?
Yes. You got me thinking right now.
So when you look at the type of clients that you're going to go for, whether it's real estate or the hotels and spas and all that kind of stuff, and you're talking about niching, originally, what was your niche? You were just talking about the industry, or were
Mhm.
you talking about a particular market? What were you talking about? High end and all that kind of stuff?
I was talking about thinking about high-end uh,
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle companies.
Okay.
It's about lifestyle and service companies.
Okay.
Um, and why do I pick high-end? Because they want to do it uh, the best.
Okay.
And they have this mentality of creating the best experience for their clients. And I want to do that with my cartoon character. I created the whole experience. I had to learn about retail design. I have to learn a lot of things. Even though I didn't do everything myself, I have to be honest. I
Yeah,
have
you have to learn
I
it.
had to understand
Yeah.
everything that I did. Because at the end, it was me who was giving out the ideas or the creative direction. And it was me who was saying, okay, to this or no, this.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to learn about the whole thing, how the brand of my cartoon was translated into everything.
Wow.
So yes,
And so
and
now you have that experience that you can speak to. And especially if you're going after say venues or hotels or whatever that don't have that experience. It's like we're bringing in money, but now because a lot of times, especially in hospitality in general, a lot of times the go-to for expanding a brand, oh, I'm gonna open another location.
yes,
What if you can create another stream of income that doesn't require you to open another location yet? Like
yes,
I know that a lot of places want to be like, I want locations here, here, and there. And that's one thing. But then there's still only that stream of income because now you're diluting your revenue by location. Because if
yes,
I don't have to come all the way here, whereas if you are making a million here, but now you have something that's 100 miles away. So now it's like, okay, well, I don't want to go here. So now instead of a million, I'm making 750,000 and the other 250 is going here. So now
yes,
you're diluting your revenue in that manner, but you're also, like I say, it might go up because you have a new location, but you're still, you know what I mean? But then
yes,
if you add another stream of income that does not have anything to do with location, now that's just sending that up.
yes,
So getting people to see that.
yes, yes, absolutely. And also creating experiences within the same brand, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, my cartoon, it was a way to test myself and
Okay.
my own ideas, like crazy ideas. Let's see if this works. Like
Okay.
that was my approach always, and that's what every single project that I did with my cartoon, it was like, let's see if my idea works, and
Mm-hmm.
many of them worked. I actually had another a project within the project
Mm-hmm.
about creating an educational guide for kids
Okay.
that visit the pyramids here in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I live nearby a very famous pyramid. So I developed this project. I went out and looked for sponsors. And this project reached more than 100,000 kids in school
Wow.
age.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how to create a project, validate it, and then go for it. Like creating streams of income.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and that's what I'm saying. And like, instead of worrying about that niche about I want this particular industry or something, it's more about what you're already talented and gifted in. And
Wow.
that's what you bring to the game. So
Yes.
you get to own the fact that, you know what, well, once we start working together and we start getting your brand strategy together, now we start looking at it from a brand architecture aspect. It's like, what are we going to build on top of this? You can go ahead and open 2, 3, 5 locations, but then what are we going to build on top of this brand that's going to increase revenue that does not require opening a whole nother location? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take you, say, $1 million to build out staff and all that kind of stuff. $1 million. Whereas if we just productize something, if we just license out something, the cost for doing that is minimal compared
Yes.
to having to open a whole new location. And so
That's it.
you're able to bring that knowledge to them. And so
Yes.
now it's not just about, oh, well, she does logos or she does brand strategy for hotels. No, she builds architecture for hotels. It's
Okay.
because you're building an intangible architecture, they will understand it because they're used to the architecture of a building. So when you talk about building, this is the foundation. We're going to start here with the foundation, but what are we going to build on top of that? What
Mm-hmm.
else can we produce that does not require us always coming out of pocket, but it's still creating income?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely right. I'm thinking right now.
And that's what I say. Sometimes especially when you're a strategist, it's hard to see your own strategy because you
Yes.
think of it based on getting away from what you used to do to
Yes.
now being able to attract a certain client. And because you know that in the future, this is what it's going to look like. It's like, where do I start right now? So my
Yes.
niche isn't always based on an ideal client, but it's based on an ideal talent. How about that?
Oh, I'm gonna write this down. Yes. It's easier.
Yes,
It's easier to
because
talk
it's your gift.
about.
It's your gift. It's your education. It's your experience that you've already received.
Yes.
And so if they don't have this, then it's like, okay, how do we get it? And how do
Mhm.
we get it quickly without us having to go and spend all the years that you've already spent? Sweetie, you paying me because I already have the experience.
Yes.
And it's like, let me help you produce the same thing. And now that you know this is a thing for you, when you go and you start scouting clients, whether you hunt, trap, or farm, when you start doing that, you start looking at it from a perspective of how am I going to help them increase their architecture?
Oh.
What can I now look at? It's like, okay, I see this. This is a great hotel. I can do all the real shit, but how can I help them license something?
Yeah.
So you look at them differently than if somebody just went in with, I'm going to help you with a brand strategy.
Yes.
Like for me, I concentrate on solopreneurs, but I concentrate on solopreneurs with shiny object syndrome. It's like I have all these great ideas. I have all these things in my head. I got this long ass menu and list, but I ain't doing shit. I'm still in the same place I was 2 years ago.
Yes.
So turning shiny objects into a scalable brand, that's my gift.
Okay.
And so you're like I say, especially doing architecture on top of architecture, because you're talking about doing brand architecture on top of an existing hotel or real estate, whatever. It's a language and a conversation that only you can have.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. I
So
understand.
it builds different. Talk about brand building. I'm showing you
Yes.
how to build a brand.
Yes. Oh, I see it now.
You see? And
Yeah.
then, like I say, the conversations that you have based on the clients that you want to get, whether they're in real estate and hotels and spas and all that kind of stuff, it's always about building. And people understand it from a construction aspect. So you can use construction terms that they understand. You could talk about building on top of a building, they get that.
Yes.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about your building. Let's talk about building your brand. Let's talk about
Mhm.
the architecture of it all. What does that look like?
Yes. My, are you asking me
And
now?
I'm not.
No, it's no, I understand. Sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
She's like, wait, I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
Thank you. Okay.
So then how does that hit different for you now that you think about it from that standpoint?
Well, it makes more sense than before because it was like I am leaving behind a lot of knowledge.
And you don't have to.
Yeah, because I know that's valuable, very valuable. It really took me a lot of years, a lot of money to learn, to experience, and also it gave me a lot of rewards. Trial
Mm-hmm.
and error, trial and error. I know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think it's some valuable experience in that area that I
Now,
can bring as a differentiator from
mm-hmm.
other brand strategies.
Yes. Because everybody, and we know that there's this whole thing out there about getting paid for your thinking.
Yes.
But getting paid for your thinking, how are you thinking about it for yourself? Like I said, I know what happened for me, and now like even with my clients, I see what happens for them. One of my clients, she had a thing of when we met, she would identify her clients as marginalized. Like nobody wants to hear that they're marginalized. They already know that.
Yeah.
And so she changed the terminology in such a way that, okay, they're authentically distinct. So much more inviting than saying I'm
Yeah.
marginalized.
Yes.
The conversation and the core message did not change. It's just how you identify your people. And so
Yeah.
now they're more attracted to, oh, I'm distinct and I want to be authentically distinct. So let me go check her out.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you come at it, it's like when I talk about brand strategy, I talk about it from an architecture perspective of How do we productize? How do we license? How do we build out this thing?
Yes.
And so now they understand that it's just not about the purpose, vision, and mission of it all.
No.
I can see there's more to it. If we're going to build out this strategy, sweetie, we're talking about your future. What does it look like?
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm used to look way ahead
Mm-hmm.
down the road, not just now, like the
Yeah.
vision. Yeah, it's okay, but I'm now I am used to think like 5 years from now for my clients, but
For
not
your
for
clients.
myself. Not for myself because I have all these things that I don't want to give up, or that I don't want to how to incorporate or make them work together.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm seeing.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you start to think about your own architecture. How are you going to build out your own brand? What does that look like now for you? And then, like I say, it's not about where you are, it's about where you want to be. And
Yes.
then it's like, what am I going to do to close the gap? And a lot of people don't know how to close the gap. They got big dreams and all this kind of stuff. You even got a vision statement, but do you know how to close the gap?
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
the, go ahead,
yeah.
sweetie, go ahead.
Well, in my case, close the gap, I have to refine my message. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, I have to be clear, right? That's why I haven't posted anything. Because I'm still like a mess in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how to do this. Then once I have it clear, I think that for me, in general, when you are clear about what you want and where you want to go, it's basic. If you're not clear, you are 1 minute you are going in that direction, and then you are going back, and then it's like driving from San Diego to Phoenix, and in the middle of the way you decide to go back, and then okay, now let's go to Seattle.
Yep.
So you
Totally
never
different direction.
and you never get to anywhere. I mean, you
Yeah.
may have a lot of fun,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
where are you going?
Yeah.
And I help my clients to get clarity, but I have to get clarity for
Clarity of
myself.
young. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I like that you said that, because a lot of people, they do go from place to place to place. And I've seen it with people that I've met over the last couple of years, where they started out with this thing, and because they couldn't figure out how to work that thing. And I know you invested in the education because we were probably in a class together or something, and so we're still connected. But now
Yes.
you couldn't get that thing to work, and now you're doing something new. And okay, sweetie, you're still having the same problem because, like you said, you don't have a message. Your message is not clear,
Yes.
and you're expecting it to pop off just right away. Where in actuality, a lot of people don't realize that brand building takes time.
Yes.
That's why you're branding. You're not branded. When you're branding, you're still building. You're still going through the process. But once it's branded and other people are talking about it the way that you want them to talk about it, fuck what Jeff Bezos says. It's not about what people say when you're not in the room. It's
Yeah.
about how you represent and say that thing on the regular. And the
Yes.
reason I start with solopreneurs, like I said, is because, you know what, let's start on the ground floor, because it starts with you.
Yes.
How is this thing going to be built out? And it's not just about attracting the right clients, it's also about attracting the right talent.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have people that want to do that thing, and they haven't built on their own audience. If they're trying to be a business and they want to collaborate with you, they're going to come to you. You know what, you already have the clientele and wherewithal, so can you just send me some referrals? And so there's all these different ways that people know who you are and how you stand and what your brand stands for. That now it's not just about attracting clients. It's about attracting collaboration. It's about attracting speakers. It's about attracting invitations, because your personal brand is over here, but then you want to endorse your business. And that's
Yes.
what a lot of people don't do. It's like, okay, if I am my brand, I got to talk about me. And I feel self-conscious talking about me. But if you have a personal brand that endorses the business, then you're always talking about the business, and not from a standpoint, oh, you need to buy my shit. But it's from a standpoint of, let me tell you how grandma's house does this thing. Let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you how grandma's house works with clients. Let me tell you. And so you have this thing of endorsement, not about pitching. Because half the time you're pitching when you just wait for it open. Oh, she said this. Let me go tell her about my business. And it's like one of my biggest pet peeves about social media, whether in a Facebook group or whatever, Soon as you ask, you're out here trying to put out information, you get crickets. But as soon as you ask somebody to drop their social media, you got 300 and 400 responses.
Yes.
It's like, come on now. Do you really think that this is going to serve anybody well?
No. No.
But
No.
it's a constant thing. We see it all the time.
Yes.
So it's like, what are you going to do when you want to stop doing this thing? Oh, everybody drop your social media, I'm gonna follow you. Really? No, I'm not. I'm
Yes.
not.
No.
I don't have any personal accounts on social media. I really don't, because I'm not that kind of social person. I'm a person to person social person. If
Yes.
we're gonna actually have a conversation, you know what? We can get on Zoom and have coffee together and shoot the shit. I have been I recently had a grandma's open house, and I promise you, we were on from four my time, I'm CST, 4 my time till 10:30 at night.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And this was a behind the scenes, let's just get to talk and know each other, because you always talk about know, like, and trust, but then you do this bullshit of you only like my stuff because we're connected some kind of way. And you
Yes.
comment on my stuff to make yourself look good, because I see that all the time too. Oh, you are so right. This is why, seriously. And what they're trying to do is capitalize on your audience, especially on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
And so you recognize all this. And so the people that are following you, that are trying to capitalize on your already existing audience, they're not there for you.
They're there for themselves.
They're there for themselves.
Yes.
They're there for themselves. And it also it helps me to make sure that I'm not showing up like that. If I'm commenting on it, sweetie, congratulations, that is so great, or something that adds value to them, not to me, because why am I trying to take up space on your thing?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you start to take up space, when you start to put out those messages or whatever on LinkedIn, and become that voice of, you know what? When you're building a brand, you have to think about licensing and productizing, even if you're a service-based business within the hotel, spa, real estate arena. Nobody else can really have that conversation. They can comment every now and then, but they don't have the full scope of who Blanca is coming for.
Yes.
They can't talk that whole conversation because you know how to connect those dots.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely right. Yes. I mean, I have to give more thought to this concept because it's very interesting and it's attractive to me because
Mm-hmm.
it feels better than before.
Than trying to go after a client instead of having them attracted to what you know how to
Yes.
do.
Yes. Yes. It
And
feels,
that's what is different.
yes, because it embraces more of who I am as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like having that piece of experience included in my services, it feels natural to me.
Yeah. I like that. And so and because now that it becomes part of your core message, like I say, now if you go and you look at a hotel, you start to spot those places that they can create a product. You begin to spot the things that can be licensed out, because you're actually actively looking for those things. Nobody else is.
Yes.
No one else is looking for it except you. So now when you have the conversation, if you give them one little win, it's like, you know what, you can turn this into a product, and kind of tell them how, or not necessarily how, but why.
Mm-hmm.
Then they come to you for the how.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
And the more you get, the more you do that, like your first clients, you may charge $5,000 for it, but by the end of the year, you're charging 20 and 30 grand for it, because nobody can spot it like you. You got practice.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Besides, the process is really nice. It's I enjoy doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoy it.
And it doesn't make you concentrate on just one industry.
Exactly, because I was having problems with that, and I was thinking more about, as you said, this thing that uh, the kind of businesses that match my ideal talents.
Mm-hmm.
It's even better than targeting a lifestyle
Yeah.
or it's even better because my idea, and I have a whole bunch of things that I can do. So how can I bring value to my clients with my ideal
With
talents
you. Yes.
that are unique to me? The combination,
The combination.
a combination.
Yes. And this is why like I say, I've studied brand strategy and I respect all the people that are in it. I've even had disagreements when this woman was on Clubhouse, she does PR. And
Mhm.
so I was saying purpose, vision, and mission. Yeah. And she like got totally hot with me. I've been doing this for 20 years and it's always the same and just going all in. Kind of crazy. And I did not argue with her, but I said, okay. But the thing about it is, you've been doing this for 20 years. I'm looking at your website, I'm looking at your email, and I understand you still caught up in some bullshit. And it because if you were at the level that you thought you were at, trust and believe your shit wouldn't look this raggedy.
Ooh.
And this is the thing. You can talk all you want to. But and this is why I think people go out and grab logos and all that kind of stuff. Logos don't mean shit until
Yeah,
you've already built a reputation for something.
exactly.
Now you want them to see that logo and begin to associate it with it so they feel some kind of way whenever they see it. But if
Yeah,
nobody recognizes it, it don't mean shit.
nothing. No,
Nothing.
nothing.
But
And
that's the go-to. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
it's not just the logo, it's all the actions that you take. I mean, the logo is not just a representation, a visual
Yes.
representation, but the real brand is behind every single action that you take.
Yes.
And when you have clarity, all your actions will lead you to that place.
Yep.
And the logo is just the representation.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And it's just like anybody looking at golden arches. If you say golden arches, most people, if not all people, know what golden arches represent. But it
Yes.
represents something different to everybody based on the experience that they have. I call it Macbeth personally. But it's based on something.
Yes.
And so, but the thing about it is they claim this is how we want to be represented. But
Yes.
when we go in and we actually experience it, what you said and what I got, they don't match up.
Exactly.
But you know what? People will continue to go there and partake and buy and all that kind of stuff because they know what kind of raggedy they're going to get. They're used to that kind of raggedy.
Yes.
And it's after a certain point, sweetie, it doesn't matter what the fuck you said. I already know because this is the one I go to all the time. If I go to another one and have a different experience, that's representative of that one, not of the one I normally go to.
Yes.
So when you start to spread that shit out, there's no alignment. There's no
Hmm.
alignment anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's good to have that clarity since the beginning. Us, as an entrepreneurs, I think you are bringing a very good point for solopreneurs. It can't be by the book.
No.
When you offer products, you have to be very clear on your niche, like the traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
But for solopreneurs, we have so much skill, so many skills, and each one of us are different.
Yes.
Especially if we are in the consultant arena or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
professional. I'm not a dentist.
Nope.
A dentist offers this kind of services, but us as consultants, we have a vast amount of knowledge. And how did you use it? And
Yeah.
your concept of ideal talent sounds great to me.
Yeah. And it's not about having all the hyphenations. That's
Yeah.
not what it is. It's about that one thing that you
Yeah.
can connect everything else to.
Yes.
One of my first podcast guests, Chris Martin, he's a podcaster, but he also likes doing documentary and he also does other kind of filmmaking. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, these may seem separate, but if we put them all under podcasting, how do you connect the dots? Then it's about connecting the dots. If I do podcasting that gives a documentary feel, that also adds some video element to it. So I get to bring all of those things to podcasting. And I get to talk about it in a way that no other podcast is doing it.
Mhm.
And so it's like I say, it's taking that one thing. So
Yeah.
being a brand strategist, I'm a brand strategist who focuses on productizing and licensing out your shit.
Yeah.
That's different than just being a straight up brand strategist.
Yes, totally different.
So everybody else that's saying getting paid for your thinking, or they have to get strategy before I do a design. Really? Can you break it down a little better for me? If you want me to come to you for your talent, if you're telling me that you're distinct and unique from everybody else, sweetie, what is so unique? There are graphic designers all over the place. There are web designers all over the place. How do you connect the dots differently?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so if you want to be known for that talent, then tell me what that talent is outside of just being. And I tell everybody, take the fucking word help out of your shit. Don't say I help. My thing is I nurture. And I literally nurture my clients because I only take a set number of clients.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do a one to many. So when I say I nurture, I'm sitting with you. Are we confused? Are we doing something? What the fuck? So I nurture. But what is your thing? I activate. How do you activate your clients? They want to know. How are you going to make me get off my ass? Because a lot of times, like I said, I can help myself if I choose to help myself. Evidently, I need something more than help. So
Yes.
what is the other thing that you're going to give me? I'm going to activate your ass. How are you going to do that? Now you can have a totally different conversation than I help so-and-so's do this. Really? I see that. I'm telling you, it just irritates me that people can't see beyond the help. I help women empower this thing. I help them build. Seriously, do you do something other than help? So your whole thing is like, I do brand strategy in a way that shows you how to productize and license out your stuff, so you're not just focused on one extreme of income.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to talk about what industry do you work in, what industry do you need me in.
Mm-hmm.
Different conversation.
Totally different. Oh my God. I have to rethink my website. You got me thinking again, but it's good because it's good. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I say, it moves away from being a brand. One, I don't believe in being a brand. That's too much of a weight to put on one person, especially as a solopreneur.
Yes.
Two, I believe in attracting clients, not always chasing clients. If
Yes.
you're a hunter, then that relates to your sales tactic, not to you. Every time somebody open their mouth, ooh, let me go pitch my business. I have an elevator pitch. I don't have an elevator pitch. Every time I introduce myself, I'd say some shit that I have not said before because I'm not trying to pitch you, sweetie. I turn shiny objects into scalable brands. That's the short version.
Okay.
But the longer version can be, I help self-aware solopreneurs, because like some people that want to work with me, they already know, because I said, you know what, you got to be this old to ride this ride, because I prefer older clients and I have a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
But I have worked with younger clients. It's just saying this is my preference. It's just like I had a preference for a certain type of man before I met my husband. He did not fit that preference model, but he's perfect for me.
Okay.
And
Yes.
so you understand these things about who, once you know who's attracted to you,
Mm-hmm.
again, it helps the conversation that you have. Instead
Yeah.
of trying to go out and make people attracted, I already know who's attracted and I know how to speak their language.
Yes.
And one of the things that I find that challenges younger entrepreneurs, so y'all never had to flirt. Y'all got an app that said, oh, I want a date, I want a booty call, I want all of these things. You never had to have a conversation to actually try to get in some girl's jaws. And I'm being very crude with this, but that's the thing. You've never had to go up and buy a girl a drink to have a conversation with her to just actually get the number. So
Yeah.
it's these type of things have it's easier for us as older entrepreneurs
Yes.
to understand how to have a conversation to get something done.
Yes.
And it's a talent and a skill that people don't even know that's a talent and a skill. Older entrepreneurs should be rocking this shit, but because they don't know, they don't use the skills that they were gifted with over the years.
Yes.
They don't see it as a gift and a talent. And I'm not talking about being manipulative, because yes, we had some Mac daddies back in the day, and I'm talking as a girl attracted to boys, so y'all figure it out. I don't care. But it's with the understanding that when you have these conversations, who's attracted to me? I know what kind of dudes I attract. If I was still as shapely as I was back then, I know what kind of dudes I attract. And so when you're talking about putting a product or service out there, it's not about hitting pain points. And I've heard this so much recently. What are their pain points? What are their pain points? Everybody's not drawn into a pain point. You can't sucker everybody in with a pain point, but everybody has a trigger.
A trigger.
Yes. Because if all you want to speak to is my pain, shit, I already know I'm hurting. Can you tell me something else? So what is that other thing that I can tell them that's going to attract them to me? I don't need to hit your pain. I already feel your pain, baby. I can speak to it, but I can speak around it. It's like, no, we're not going to do this pain thing anymore. How about we do it like this? It's just, if you ever seen anybody that's chasing, the people say, oh, I'm the 6-figure this and I'm a 6-figure that. Most people that respond to that are broke ass motherfuckers that don't have money to pay for something bigger.
Yes. I honestly don't like those posts.
I don't either. I don't either.
Because they don't feel honest to me. So what you're offering, what value are you bringing to your clients? They are just talking about how much money they are making by doing what?
And they sell you some bullshit. So me telling you that I can make you 6 figures, no, I can't. I can give you the tools to make 6 figures. I know how to give you the shit that you need that you don't know how to get for yourself.
Yes.
But if you don't take action on any of it, sweetie, can't nobody promise you 6 figures.
Yes.
But then, like I said, everybody that's chasing the 6 figures, the people that are selling it to you, they selling it to you $47 at a time. So tell me, how long did it take them to get to 6 figures? They're doing the one to many. So they're $47, $97, and $147 offer. They're doing one to many. That's how they're making their millions. But when they tell you about how you're gonna make millions, it doesn't hit the same because they know your ass is already broke. Because the people that want to make that money, who are chasing money, will go for anybody. I'm gonna find a way to get me $47. And then because you don't know how to activate the shit that they told you, you may as well have gave them $1 million. Because either way, it hurts the same when you give up your last.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you have to. I don't find those posts like valuable at all. I just hate them, read them. I just scroll through them. No.
And like I said, the people that they attract are broke ass people.
Yes.
So you in putting premium and luxury in anything that you do, you put it on your sweetie. Using the word does not make you premium or luxury.
No.
Oh my God. We're the premier so really? Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Because when you look at even when you talk about lifestyle branding, most of those people, they aren't showing you the broke ass part of their lives. They're showing you all the good things. And this is why, you know what, we're getting off topic. Let me come back. But it's a frustrating thing. When you're talking about building a business and building a brand, it is more than making fake ass promises. And while they'll tell you like, oh, my client did this, 10% of their clients may make it to $1 million. What happened to the other 90%?
Yes.
They give you all the good testimonials. They don't give you any of the bad.
Exactly. Yes.
So go ahead, sweetie.
No. Yes. Go ahead.
One of the things, when I had my previous business, when I had my restaurants with my husband, a woman gave us a 1-star Yelp review. And I seldom check those things, and I hate Yelp with a passion. But some told me, I went and looked at this one, and I recognized it, and I knew that came from us. She had a picture and everything. And I turned around and I thanked her for it. And I thank you for the 1-star review. And I went all in. This is my staff. I know who was on. So trust and believe I'm going to handle this. And if you give me a chance to rectify it, I will. That got picked up by a local newspaper, which got pushed out into other, you know how they have the subsidiary papers and all that kind of stuff. But it's because, syndication. Yeah. And so me thanking somebody for a 1-star review got me great PR because I own the fact that we fucked up. and stuff. So it's not just about, you know what, I'm only showing you the shiny shit, but it is not about putting all your business in the street either.
Yes.
It's like, I like the new State Farm commercials where they doing all the stupid shit. I keep shrimp tails in a jar under my bed. She's like, yeah, we don't have to tell them that much. And there's a certain place where you draw the line, and a lot of people don't know where the line is for them. So
Yes.
they either do it too much or not enough, and it's like, you know what? It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Yes, accepting when you are having a mistake. It's also a branding,
Yes.
because you know you are not acting in accordance to your brand.
Yes. And because they think they are the brand, then they think that, oh, it all falls on me. So I
Yes.
got to get people to like me. I don't give a fuck if you like me. I want you to like the results that I get from my clients. I want you
Yes.
to like the work I do. Sweetie, I don't know if you're going to like me or not. I'm not for everybody.
Yes.
I want people to not like me, because now, you know, your haters will talk about you more than the people who love you.
Yes.
And because the haters talk so much, the people that want to figure out, do I really like them? They'll show up. So
Yes.
having haters is a great thing. As much as you think it may hurt your personal feelings, trust and believe. Your haters will draw in more people than the people who love you will. Because a lot of people will think that, oh, well, she paid them to say that. Oh, well, you know what? She probably said something to them, gave them something free. They don't want to believe an actual good review, but they believe a bad one. But then when they find out the bad one was wrong, oh, they love you even more.
Yes.
So it's crazy.
Well, sometimes you learn from more
Yeah.
from people who is harsh to you. I have
Yeah.
a story. I've always been an entrepreneur, and one of my projects that I don't know if you saw about it, I I design books for a
Mm-hmm.
period of time as a graphic designer. So one of my dreams also was to publish a book, like being an editor, an independent publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So one time, after designing a couple of them for several clients, I said, hey, this looks easy. I should do it. Because all my projects, personal projects, begin like that.
Mm-hmm.
I should do this. So I decided to publish a Mexican cookbook in English and Spanish.
Okay.
So I did all the research. And I think that was my first serious contact with brand strategy. It's the process, design thinking and brand strategy. It's kind of similar, not the same, but has similarities. So I did the research. I did the mock-up, or not the mock-up, the prototype of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the biggest book show in Mexico, and it's very, very important around the world. So I got connected with this buyer. She was from Chicago, and everybody wanted to talk to her because she's a distributor, and she has she's an authority in that business industry. So I had to stalk her all days until I got a meeting with her. I even left a car below her room.
Oh wow. Good for you.
So
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the show, I finally got to talk to her for 5 minutes. She gave me 5 minutes to take a look at my prototype. So the first thing that she said is she tore the book apart. The translation was awful. Awful. Because my English is not my native language. So I
Yeah.
hired this woman, and she claimed to be good, just as the animators. But the thing is that I tested this thing, right? But then she comments on the illustrations and the book design, which was actually under my control, and she liked it. And then she pointed out some things that make it even better regarding the content. So obviously, by the end of the interview, I was crying, but not in front of her. I was married back then, and my ex-husband said, "Why are you crying?" And I told him all about it. And he said, "It's not that bad. You only have to hire someone else. And she already told you what to do." Just go out there and do it. Oh, but I have to spend a lot of money on the translator again and things like that. And the investors, they are not going to want to pay for it. I have to do it myself. And he said, who cares?
Wow.
Imagine if you print a book with that trashy
changes.
translation. No, my God, no. So I went back, I hired a new translator, and then I took the pictures as she recommended. And guess what? The book was picked by Barnes & Noble and Borders Group in USA.
Wow.
It's a committee of, I don't know how many of them, but it's not picked by one. I mean, they gather together and they decide together which books are going into the store, because even they're huge, they have limited spaces.
Yes.
Yes. So it was sold in USA and in Mexico, and it was picked by everybody.
Nice.
So I learned that sometimes bad reviews,
yes,
if you listen,
it makes you better.
Makes you better.
Yes.
So
it is a definite thing. Well, sweetie, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I so appreciate you. How can people find you? Is it just through LinkedIn, or do you want them to pay attention anywhere else as you grow?
In LinkedIn right now, I'm going to post. I don't even have like my final domain name. I'm working on it, but on LinkedIn or ever Blanca Ruiz, and yes, there right now there.
Well, y'all know how to find Miss Blanca, and please go look up Chico Chihuahua. I know she's trying to distance herself, but he is so fucking cute. I promise you, he is.
Yes.
And anybody that can get their picture on a Visa card, trust and believe, y'all need to go check them out.
Thank
but
you.
I am your ghetto country grandmother, and you know what? 5, bullshit happens, so suck it up. 4, your voice is important, so speak up. 3, you make the world a more beautiful place, so show up. 2, life is good, so buck up. And 1, I love you and ain't a damn thing you can do about it, so shut the fuck up. Peace and hair grease, y'all. We're out.
Well, why?